Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hey everyone, it's Aaliyah.
And it's Joe.
How are you? Sometimes I wish that I can just sing as I speak. And actually, guys, if anyone stutters out there, if you stutter, when you sing, you don't stutter. And so when I was younger, I think I used to stutter a little more, especially when I get excited. And if I do get excited now, I stutter. Like you've heard me stutter, right?
Yeah, it's not so much of a stutter, though, I don't feel. It's just
it is a stutter. My dad stutters, and he can stutter hard. Have you heard him?
Yeah, but it's not so much. You don't really know. It's not like somebody that's... I wouldn't consider him a stutterer.
What? You
I
you haven't heard him? He
there's
has
some
been
people
in
that
a
are
stutter for
There's some people that are way more extreme.
Many long seconds he's been in a stutter for.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't know.
But again, what triggers it is excitement. So if he's excited and he's speaking fast, then that's what happens. Anyway... So someone taught me a thing back in the day, and they were like, well, when you sing, you don't stutter. So anytime that I felt as though I was going to stutter, I would just be like,
you turn it into a song.
And I said that the little boy went to the park. And then I don't stutter.
So is that, you were going to stutter at the beginning of this?
No, but when I did that, it triggered that memory. And then so I just kind of wanted to let people know that if anyone stutters... Singing actually helps with stuttering.
Okay. That's something to know.
So I know today I wanted to keep things kind of light, and because I think I get more annoyed with talking about serious stuff than you do.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about that a little bit. I mean, now that I think about it, you always want to go lighter. You want to check out, you would rather just watch some dumb movie that means nothing. That's your escape, right?
Uh-huh. Well,
I don't seek escape.
I do because again, I mean, look, the other night I got a phone call, right, from a patient and it was a possible Baker Act, right? So it's I get those kind of calls, that's my life.
Yeah.
So I do like to escape and watch mindless TV show and not have to talk about heavy things all the time.
Yeah. Hold on.
My career is heavy.
I need to stop this guy from licking.
Oh,
Dude,
my God.
Chill out.
Every time we're doing a podcast, Euro has to eat vagina.
He was good yesterday.
Oh, he was with us yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear.
But, that's 1 out of 100.
Yeah. So anyway, today I found some light things to start with that I really actually enjoyed looking at. Speaking about dogs, I was reading and I found this cute little article on why grumpy dogs are more intelligent than happy-go-lucky hounds. And so as I was reading it, it made sense to me why that is. So basically what they did was they have this doctor, right, who came out and did this research or whatever on grumpy dogs. Now by grumpy dogs, they're not talking about bad dogs. People think that grumpy dogs are bad dogs, meaning the dogs that don't say hi to you really when you first come in or ignore you or are just moody. Mm-hmm. People are like, that's a bad dog. It's just a grumpy fucking dog,
Yeah.
Just grumpy. But that dog is observing so hard. And that dog is checking things out, observing, consuming lots of information, all this stuff, while the other dog is like, ooh, oh, hey, I'm happy to see you. Right? And it's all dopey and and then it's missing all this information. It's not observing anything because he's like, what's this? What's going on? Right? It's like canine ADD or whatever. And then their brains aren't able to absorb or retain enough information. So they're just less smart.
Yeah. What makes them want one way or another, though?
So that is a good question. And I tried to find the article again, but The Guardian isn't letting me back in because I have to register.
Oh.
Ridiculous. But I thought about it, and then I was like, well, what category is Euro in? And it's like, I don't want to say that he's not that smart.
He's not that smart.
I don't want him to hear me. But he's not that smart.
Oh.
But that makes sense because Euro's not grumpy.
Yeah.
Euro's like, what? Huh? What? You want to love me? Pet me? Huh? Squeeze me? Be with me forever, forever, forever and ever?
That's all he cares about.
That's all he cares about. And guys, he's not that smart. Like, at all. Oh my God, I feel so bad saying that about my kid, but it's true.
This is what you wanted to talk about today, huh? Really?
Well, that's
exciting.
just one thing. I'm gonna get to the heavy stuff, okay? Then another post I found, you guys, which was actually really interesting. Who knew that in Romania right now, Dracula's castle is offering tourists COVID shots, and along with the COVID vaccine, if you get it, they'll give you a free tour of Dracula's torture chamber. Now, first of all, time out. Is Dracula a real thing? I'm confused.
Dracula was a real person, yes.
Wait, what?
But I don't know the story behind it, but obviously, him turning into a bat and stuff is kind of a mythical thing, I guess. But he was a real person, though. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So he had fangs. He was a real person.
I don't know if
he killed
fangs.
people, sucked people's blood.
Once again, I don't know the whole story, but I know that he was a real person. And in fact, I believe
Was he torturing people?
I don't. Like I said, I don't know the history behind it. I know that he was a real person, though, and I also know that I believe the Queen of England and they have some sort of relation. Not like relations, but there is a family line connection, yeah, somewhere
to Dracula.
Yeah, I believe so. Listen, all of this is just off the top of my head and like random shit that I read. So, if anybody wants to confirm all this, that's fine. But yeah, but Dracula, I don't know the whole story behind it, but yeah, I don't. He was a real person, though.
Is Count Dracula real?
Oh my God. You can do this now?
Hold on. Though Dracula is a purely fictional creation, Stoker named his infamous character after a real person who happened to have a taste for blood. Vlad III, Prince of Wallachia, or as he is better known, Vlad the Impaler. Who the fuck is that? Euro, stop it.
This podcast is fucking chaos right now. I'm just letting you know. We're about to reset this whole fucking thing.
No, because Joe has to. No, it's not chaos. Joe has to make sure that everything's absolutely perfect, and he can't have anything not be perfect with the podcast.
No, I put myself in the listener's position, and I'm like,
Joe Rogan's podcast is sometimes
listen.
Shit? Joe Rogan's podcast, who we love, right? But his podcast sometimes is really just like
he's
they're
not
just
chasing
talking
his
about
fucking dog around the studio and fucking like music fucking blasting from outside and then talking about one.
Okay, Mike Tyson, great podcast. His podcast is chaos.
Actually, I hate his podcast because I can't understand what the fuck he's saying.
I love
the time.
You guys. Tyson's podcast is the shit. You have to watch it. I mean, listen to it. Listen, there's stuff going on. But anyway, so Dracula is. His name isn't really Dracula though.
Listen, you're going down this path that's like you can't figure this shit out in like 3 minutes here. Like, and you're looking on Google too. So they're going to tell you whatever the fuck they want to tell you.
Fine. I guess we'll talk about serious stuff. Like COVID. Ugh. Or vaccine. Ugh.
And I want to, hold on.
Or politics.
I want to explain my thoughts behind this stuff, whereas like where I'm coming from is when I talk about COVID and any kind of political stuff, what I'm trying to do is empower the listener. Like, think outside the box. See it from a different perspective. That's like I'm combating media right now when I talk about these things. That's how I feel inside. You just talk about it just to talk about it, which is fine. But there's like this uncontrollable mission in my head to like hopefully get one person to maybe like not see it the way that everybody is like blasting it out in your face.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just, again, I feel like I don't need to have that as my mission. Like for me, I'm like, I got into a field where my mission, right, is to support and to assist people and to help people as best as I can.
Right, you do it on a daily basis. So like,
So for
I
me,
only get these podcasts.
Oh, fine. Okay, let's talk about something serious then. Joe needs to help someone. So let's go to
Well, let's talk about your thing that you wanted to talk about, the New York.
New York. You know, guys, let's focus on New York for a second. So I'm a New Yorker, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but people from New York, we're like really serious about being from New York. New York is the shit compared to any other state. Okay? So like if you're from Long Island, bullshit, you're not from New York. Okay? Like if you're from like Rhode Island, please, not from New York. Okay? Anything other than
shit.
Right? But like
Yo,
you have to be.
Hold, I gotta stop.
No, I have to say this because people from Rhode Island, though,
Of course they're not from New York.
They know that they're from Rhode Island because it's a different state, but they act like they're from New York with your East Coast fucking shit. You don't know shit about East Coast.
Oh, East Coast.
You don't know shit about East Coast stuff.
It's actually further east than fucking New York, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Whatever. People from anywhere else other than New York, okay, you guys? Like, New York is the shit. So something that New York has done, which is proving them to be even more the shit in my mind.
Sorry, you're just to clarify, you're saying that New York is the East Coast compared to New England.
Oh my God. It's East
Is that
Coast.
What you're saying?
It's all East Coast.
All right,
but I'm just saying that New York, regardless of how far east it is the hub of East Coast shit.
Okay. All right. Continue.
And not fucking New York like upstate New York. Like
New York.
New York. Right.
Okay.
Harlem represent. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody even thinks about like upstate, like trees and shit in New York when you say New York. They just think about the city.
Exactly.
But there's actually a vast forest up north.
Huge.
People go to their cabins.
Yeah,
and shit.
I mean, it's beautiful. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
So New York has done two things, guys. It has decriminalized marijuana, making it now legal to smoke marijuana in New York. Actually, they legalized it. They didn't just decriminalize it, right? Because those two are different things.
Yeah, they have. They're creating a whole system of sales,
which they really needed to do because let's be honest, New York shut everything down for a really fucking long time and lost probably a lot of fucking money. So what's the money maker? Weed, and there they go, right? Got it. The other thing they did though that I'm actually really kind of like into, is they decriminalized prostitution. And I'm about that life. I'm about that life, you guys. Because for me, like, first of all, no judgment. I really don't care about anyone's job in terms of what people choose to do for a living just because I don't know someone's life story. I don't know where someone comes from. I don't know what they have to do, whatever, right? So for me, prostitution is an actual career. It is. Like, people, let's not laugh about this. This is actually very serious. There are people in this world who have, that's their choice for whatever reasons, okay, have chosen to do that. And that is what they do. All right. They are sex workers. And if that's what they want to do and somebody else wants to pay them to do it, then that's their choice. No judgment here. Make your fucking money. That is a job. Okay. So why is it a criminal act to prostitute yourself and make money for it? I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. So what New York did was they decriminalized it finally, which I think every state needs to jump up on. And I'm confused as to why they're not, because in my mind, it makes perfect sense to decriminalize something such as prostitution.
Well, I mean, do you feel that, like, I mean, that goes the same way for everything, right? If somebody is willing to pay for something or some service that somebody else is providing, and it's not harming anybody. Nobody's like getting hurt, and it's all based on people's choices. Whatever that activity is should be legal, including crack, heroin, cocaine, whatever, because those are all choices, and they're not actually like in the process of that exchange. Nobody's hurting anybody. When people get hurt, is they're either hurting themselves, or if they get like maybe in rare cases they get super high on some sort of drug and they go out and harm somebody else. But there's laws that actually protect those people that get hurt during those periods of time, because it's illegal to go kill somebody. Right. Yeah. So people think that like if you legalize, crack or something, then all of a sudden
the whole world's gonna smoke crack.
Yeah, the whole world's gonna go smoke crack, and all of a sudden all the other laws just disappear, like killing people and murder and fucking whatever. Like, right. Those laws are still there.
Robbing people's houses.
You still can't do that shit.
So if a drug addict, let's say, robs their mom's house or whatever, you can still press charges.
Yeah, it's still illegal. And guess what? Whether it's legal or illegal, they're going to be robbing houses anyways.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. But actually, now that we're sitting here, we're talking about it, I can see from a different angle how the decriminalization of prostitution can get iffy. Because as I'm sitting here, I'm going, okay, prostitution, sex workers. And then I start thinking, okay, what about the sex workers and individuals who are actually kidnapped, who are brought into a whole sex ring, right? Who are underage, and now they're out there having to prostitute. Now, the thing is
that's still illegal too.
That's illegal. But who the fuck knows? It's not like the cop, let's say, driving down the street knows that fucking person's a kidnapped sex worker.
So what do they do now?
But that's what I'm saying. So now it's kind of making sense to me a little bit.
No, I mean, like what have they been doing? Investigations, sting operations. I'm sure all that stuff still continues on because it's illegal. Like those laws are still there. Once again, those laws are still there, right? Like just because prostitution
those laws are still there, but I think it just makes it more, now that they decriminalize prostitution, in my mind, it would make it just more, it's easier almost, I feel like, in my mind. Well, like, yes, there still could be an investigation, okay? All this stuff would still be happening, but I would think that it would be easier for these people to now get away with kidnapping and selling these minors, let's say, right?
Would it? Why?
For sex. I don't know. I just feel like it'd be happening way more.
It's the same theory as like the person that thinks like everybody's going to go smoke crack the day.
You're everything. Right. No, right. Yeah, totally. You're right about that. I'm just trying to see it from different angles as to why everybody wouldn't decriminalize it. So I'm trying to pick it apart. But that angle makes sense to me.
Well, let me tell you about New York, and this is really what I want to get into. So they are
okay. We're ready now for you.
They have been like, you cannot, whether you live there or don't live there, or agree with this or don't agree with this, it is the truth that they have been the most restrictive state in the United States, and I guess next to like California. You know, basically all the major states and cities have been the most restrictive and the most like, you know, controlled during this pandemic, right? So New York being one of those states, now that we've been in this for over a year now, I mean, I haven't been up there, but from what I've heard, I mean, people are getting kind of antsy up there, you know?
Are you going to connect this to the prostitution?
Yes.
Okay, because I hear you going down a COVID pandemic thing. No.
I'm just saying, like, that's what it's about, right? That's the reason why this is all happening. And so they're being restricted. So now, like, how do you keep people Yeah, this guy's fucking snoring, too, now. This podcast is a shit show. So, all right, how do you keep anybody... It's really deep, but like you got control. All right, so New York, people that live in New York are used to all these kinds of like rules and stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. Like it's like yeah, people are whatever selling drugs and stuff, but for the most part, there's a lot of restrictions on a lot of police officers controlling things. And like, ever try to have a fucking protest in New York? That's probably not happening. You never see large protests in New York because it's all restricted, right? So this has been going on for years and years and years and years and years. Now we got this pandemic thing, and everybody's been sitting in their house for a year, and now like the government is like scared of upheavals, people going against the government, the state government. So they have to. They're forced to give people these things. These are the things that they know that they've taken away from people. The prostitution, which everybody's just like, all right, that's an agreement, right? Drugs. The war on drugs is never going. It has never been meant to be won, right? So
it's not always an agreement.
Forced prostitution with
because again, if we're taking the kidnapping minors and putting them out as sex workers or whatever and using them for sex.
I'm not talking about them.
Listen, if we are using that as an example, because it does exist, right? Now what's happening is that now these children, let's say, right, are being used as sex slaves or whatever, or sex workers to have sex with other men and other people, but it's not like they want to. They're doing it because they've been kidnapped and they're forced to. So now they're being basically... All right,
listen.
So I'm just saying.
You just spun this off in a whole other direction. Yes, there are people like that.
Okay, I just want to be clear for our listeners or anyone who listens to it, because, you know, that's a
what I'm saying is you're a typical prostitute that, just wants to go have sex for money. It's a choice. I don't know. Listen, I don't know anything about prostitution. I don't know anything about that world. I know one actual real pimp from Minnesota. His name was Kane. He was actually a really good guy.
Why would you shout him out like that?
Because he was a good dude. And all of his girls were like, they loved him and they wanted to. Maybe, I don't know how this pimp thing works, but they seemed like good people. They were older, so they seemed to be able to make choices on their own. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I know about prostitution. That one pimp named Kane. Mm-hmm. We connected at a bar one day because, my DJ name was Kane and his real name was Kane. His name was, actually, his last name was Kane. His first name was Herman Kane.
Wait, you shouted his whole name out?
Yeah.
Why would you shout? We're going to have to bleep this. I mean, you can't shout this guy's name out like that. That is the
Herman Kane from Minnesota. This guy would be like soup to hear this right now.
But
he's openly a pimp. Anyways, Herman Kane ran for president. Not this Herman Kane, but another Herman Kane several years ago.
Okay.
Anyways. Spinning out of control as usual. Getting back to what I was saying is the state of New York has to do these things or they're going to have chaos in the city.
Right.
They're feeding people little crumbs. Shit that they should have already had anyways.
Oh, so you're saying that the legalizing weed and the decriminalizing prostitution are crumbs?
Yes. Shit they should have...
basically just make people like, okay, guys,
I guess, yeah, just calm down. Don't look at us as bad guys. Look, we're giving you stuff.
Especially because of what happened during COVID.
Right. They have to. If they kept being more and more restrictive, people would start flipping out there.
You know why I figured they have to? I figured that they had to for both like money reasons, because they lost so much money. So if you think about it, if they decriminalize prostitution, right, and that's an actual act where someone's getting paid for it, right, mm-hmm. Do you think that it's a crazy thing that they would probably look at prostitution then as a job? And let's say now they're going to... Right, exactly, okay?
Good luck with that.
And then now they can actually make some more money from prostitution as well as...
that's not the thing. Listen, a state like New York, do you think like...
They lost a lot of fucking money. A lot. Like, a lot.
Money doesn't mean shit to those people because they just print it. They just make more. And they give out stimulus money.
We just print more money.
Where do you think your stimulus check came from?
Okay.
Literally made out of thin air so that
but whenever
our daughter's
I say
daughter
that it was,
can pay it back for us.
Okay, that's what because whenever I say, oh, they could just print it, you're like your mind is blown by that.
Yeah, you still don't understand that? Anything that they print today or create, like fake money that's not backed by anything, has to get paid for somehow. We create it through the Federal Reserve. It gets borrowed into use. And Sol and her kids and her kids' kids pay that back through increased taxes and inflation and all these other different mechanisms of stealing money from humans. Yeah.
I'm not laughing at you. I just think it's hysterical that Euro is literally snoring so loud. Interesting. Okay. I mean, if it wasn't for the weather and if it wasn't for the fucking pandemic, I'd be like, let's move back to New York, man. I mean, geez, but I can't live there.
No.
I can't live there again.
We're so grateful that we're in Florida here because it's been a pretty smooth ride out here.
It has been. Actually, this takes me to really quickly, though. I was at the park this morning with our daughter, and I ran into some friends at the park with their kids, and there was a grandmother, right? This woman who's a grandmother to these two girls. She's in town and she leaves tomorrow. She's from Connecticut. So we all start talking about the pandemic and blah, blah, and all that stuff because these two little girls who are 2 years old have their masks on and they seem fine. I mean, like when I talk, because I see them all the time at the park, they always have their masks on. They are so tiny. They're like little teeny tiny little things. They have their masks on and they're like, like everything's great. Like,
those are the twin girls?
Yeah, they're twin girls.
Oh, okay,
yeah. Oh, okay. Like they're always, so the grandmother was like, I don't know why they got their mask on. They're outside. She's like, but these girls love it. They wear their masks like da da da. And I'm like, that's so funny to me because I see it for kids as more of this traumatizing thing, but I guess it really does depend on how your child reacts to it, right? And just responds to it. Clearly, these girls are like loving it and maybe looking at it as like an accessory or whatever, or something cool, or however their parents made it to be, right?
Right.
But anyway, so I was talking to Grandma, and we were talking about the vaccine, and I was saying that like me and my whole family is vaccinated, and she was like, "Oh yeah, so are we," blah blah, blah whatever. Blah, blah. So we're all hanging out, no masks, right?
You lied to her?
Me and my family, meaning so listen, no, I went on, and then I said, however, my husband isn't and really does not plan on it. And so my other friend who was there was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, he's very holistic on this side. And I was, raised kind of this way, but then we kind of had to meet in the middle for our daughter, and that's where we're at. So the grandmother actually was like, no, I understand that. I firmly am a big believer on vitamin D. I take like 5,000 milligrams like every single day because the amount that they suggest to you is tiny compared to what you actually really need. Right. And she's going on about it, right? So I'm like, okay, so grandma knows what's up, right? But she kind of has like a balance of the two, right? Mm-hmm. So we're getting into it. And then grandma was saying, she was like, it's so crazy being out here because it's honestly as though like, she's like, this is like life, right?
Where's she
like
from?
She's in Connecticut. She's like, this is life, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, it's interesting you say that because every time I speak to someone who's like living in New York right now, whether it be family or whomever, they literally act like they went through like the gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? Like holy shit, right? Now, that's very much possible because again, I don't know. We don't know what it was like because we weren't there, right? But grandma though did say, she was like, no, honestly, our experience compared to what you guys have out here, huge difference, was so much different. She's like, I mean, I live in Connecticut and we saw trucks filled with dead bodies, pulling dead bodies out of a house. Like we saw that. She's like, so it's very like, and so now that I'm hearing from somebody else who I don't even know, right? I'm like, damn, no, they're like really not exaggerating this shit. Like it was really that bad in New York, like Connecticut, just that, north area.
Once again, hold on. Time out. Let me make sure that I let people know that I'm about to speak actual logic.
Okay.
Not false logic.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in a congested city such as
But
New
Connecticut's
York,
not congested.
Hartford, Connecticut. I don't know where she's from. There's some different areas there that have a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So whatever city, right? Miami even, right? You are going to get more
Why are you yelling? Oh my gosh.
More infections. There's more fucking people.
No, I'm not saying that that's not logical. That makes sense to me. All I'm saying, though, is that it's still going to be a different experience regardless. Right. That's all I'm saying. It's still going to be a different experience. So when they hear, let's say, us talking about it and just kind of living it right, for them, although the grandmother is like loving it right now, right? But when they, let's say, see it or hear it, for them, it's almost as though it's like, I can see how it can come off as disrespectful to other people who went through a totally different process with this whole thing. That's all I'm saying. Like, that makes sense to me.
Sure. So for that's what I've always said. For every city and state, they should have done it isolated and analyze the situation in that area and made decisions upon that. Not this whole like across the board, like shut down everything, quarantine, blah, 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 because that doesn't make sense. Especially if you're like, in freaking northern Minnesota or something like that, where there's like nobody around, nobody's got corona. Like, why would you shut things down? It makes no sense. All right.
Right.
So I mean, fine. Yeah, I guess I can see how it could be disrespectful or whatever, but
it could be.
Yeah, New York people they went through different shit. I don't understand it, but like I can get it that they went through something different, but we didn't. So what we got to sit around and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like no, we didn't.
No, but I am gonna have more obviously respect and more consideration for people who did go through something like that, because I don't know what that's like.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but they like you said, when they come down here, they more have like this relief of like, wow, oh, this is nice, right? Which is how they should feel when they come down here, right? Instead of like, I don't actually see anybody getting mad that like Florida is like just free and open now.
Well, no, because it's benefiting.
Except for the news, they get mad.
Because it's benefiting other people, right? So all those people who, let's say, in New York, you guys, I just found out, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, because one of my best friends told me, I don't know if she's accurate, but she told me that 33 million people moved to Florida during this whole entire pandemic thing, right?
I think it was 3.3.
Did you mean 3.3?
Yeah, I think it was 3.3.
Anyway, because I was like 33 million, holy God, right? But still, like in the million, like that's insane to me, but it makes perfect sense, right? So why would they complain? They are benefiting, right? From this place called Florida right now.
This is actually a good point, because like I'm like,
now we're up Joe's alley, guys. Now we're talking about stuff he wants to talk about. You're the one that weaves us in.
I was about to not talk about Corona, but this isn't really about Corona. This is about like the other side of things, where why are people in places like, all right, so a place like Florida, right? They've been doing it differently than the rest of the country the whole time, right? So why on like the news and everybody just being like, wow, look at what they did. The way that they did it, maybe we could have implemented that in some other places. Maybe not New York because it was so congested or whatever, but like maybe we could have implemented this. And why are not states like Florida and Texas or whatever being praised like, wow, they did a great job? And what about people like, and I'm not like praising myself, but like people that like didn't get the vaccine and just stayed healthy and worked out and like ate the right foods and, did all the right things with the supplements or whatever to boost their immune system. Why aren't they like fucking superheroes and like people to look at and be like, wow, we need to mirror this, because they've gone through this whole thing and not had to do anything. They just like lived a healthy life. Why isn't that like the pinnacle and everybody's like, let's mimic that? Or am I speaking illogical? This is crazy illogical talk.
No, I don't think you are. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think that their way of doing that is basically not saying anything. So, for example, we had that huge UFC 261 fight out here, right? Mm-hmm. Jorge Masvidal Usman fight. Okay, that was out here in Jacksonville. All right. They had 15,000 people, right? 15,000 people. It was a full packed event. Tickets sold out like in seconds. Like, yeah, no one was really wearing masks, but if you wanted to, you could. You had a choice, right? And so we don't watch the news, but we asked my mom and her husband if they saw anything on the news about it.
We thought it was going to be
huge. People were going to be like, oh, Florida, da da da, right? And they were like, no, we didn't. And they're like news watcher zombies, right?
Yeah.
Like they were like, no, we didn't.
So they just didn't say anything.
They just didn't say anything. So that's what I mean. I think that's how they're doing it.
But that's not doing anybody any justice either, right?
But but how could they say something now?
Because they've been
exactly. They can't say anything.
Right.
You know, it was a great event.
But like, I don't know. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, you know, the news should do this and that. But like, maybe this is the part where I'm talking to like people and trying to empower people of like, the news doesn't always tell you everything. Like they don't tell you about all these things that you can do on a daily basis to boost your immune system and like not catch corona. They don't tell you any of that. It exists. It's the truth. It's a fact. But you don't hear about it. And I just feel as though like those things should be looked at as at this point freaking almost like miracles that like, wow, that person. But instead, a person like me is looked at like, ooh, you're a risk taker. I can't believe you're risking your this and that. I'm not risking anything. I'm taking all the precautions. I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing the hard fucking work. The hard work is what I'm doing. The easy work is like going to CVS and getting a fucking vaccine and praying that it works and it doesn't have any side effects. The hard work is every fucking day going to the gym, taking the supplements, eating right, organic, not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But nobody wants to do that. And nobody, and I wish that it was like more like looked
do you know what it is too? It's that people don't want to do that, or that people don't want to just admit that they don't want to do that. Like, for example, I love the easy route.
Everybody loves
the easy route, you guys. Listen, I literally picked my grad school solely because it did not require to take the GRE. Okay, so like that is why I went to that school, so I could bypass taking a fucking exam to get into a grad program. Okay, all about the easy way. So for me, yeah, man, getting a vaccine and just, you know, calling it quits and kind of going forward is like good. So, but like I can admit that shit. I know it. You know, like I know it. I own it. Do I still work out and do that shit? Yeah, which is like a bonus, right? But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. So my thing is this. There are people out there that aren't willing to do it and that just want to take the easy way out. But then we also, because I would much rather have even just people who can just fully admit that they like the easy route and that they just don't want to do that other shit. Because if you could admit it and be honest about it, I'm good with it.
Yeah, but if it became like this, like nationwide, like trend, and like if you weren't working out every day and if you weren't eating organic, then you're like not cool. Then everybody would do it, right? Like then it's like it's all about trends. That's how.
Actually, it's funny you say that. Bringing to, well, this is like beyond trends, but still. So I also saw an article in The Guardian, which is really the only news outlet that I really kind of use. But The Guardian had a whole article on, I forgot the title of it, but it was like why people are still like holding on to these masks. Meaning the mask restriction in many states now, right, has actually been lessened, right? Especially in states like Texas and Florida. Meaning we don't have to wear a mask. Now, if it's a private facility, right, like a Publix owned or whatever, and they're requiring that you wear a mask inside, you have to. But other than that, don't have to wear a mask anywhere. But yet, when I tell you that I went to the playground today, okay, which is an outside playground, and still saw 3 people wearing masks outside, it's like, why are you still... The CDC even said, right? The CDC, which is what I think people are like listening to, right? They even said, you don't have to, like, you know? But yet, it's like people are now so scared still, right? They're so scared.
It's embedded. It's like in,
and it's like embedded. Yeah, it's like psychologically like implanted in their brains.
You know how long it takes for like a habit to become your reality, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what is that, like 3 months or something like that? They say. Like,
I mean, like a good 30 days of it, you'll definitely catch on.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention this, like getting back like to like the hard way or whatever. I'm reading this book called The Obstacle is the Way for anybody that actually wants to like start trying to do things the hard way, if you want to call it that. This book basically tells you that the whatever obstacles and whatever challenges come in your way, they're in your life for a reason, right? And you're meant to overcome them. And you can either just sit back and let those challenges take over your life, or you can take control of the obstacle in front of you and blast through it and figure it out. Not that it's like going to go away or whatever, but just work your way through it. Because once you get on the other side of that obstacle or that challenge or whatever, you are going to be this other level of a mentally stronger person. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, that sucked when I went through it, but thank God I did, because I wouldn't have this mindset that I have right now. It's, I don't know, people that like to challenge themselves. I mean, I think everybody likes to challenge themselves in one way, shape, or form, whether it's, physical challenges or mental challenges. But I think it's like human nature to actually find those obstacles and challenges and figure them out. Anyways, I just want to say that the name of the book is The Obstacle is the Way, and it's by Ryan Holland. It's a great little, it's not even that long either.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense completely. But if you think about it, although, and I'll use myself for an example. Although I like taking the easy way out of things, for example, I have a migraine, Botox, I have a migraine, my Imitrex, like I'm quick. Like, don't tell me to fucking just sit back and just like let that shit pass. I'm like, no, I need it to go away, So although I do like the easy way out of things, I feel like life in itself, though, because of how it is and because of these life tests that just come into our lives, we're not always going to, be able to take the easy way. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, for example, there are things in my life that I've been able to choose and purposefully I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing it, I'll take the easy way. But then there are obviously things in my life where I had no control over it and I had to take the hard way, right? So it was and I think that happens to like that's just what happens.
Like I think we just talked about this in the last podcast about having our daughter, and like the world, if you are trying to raise a good person in this world, then you actually need to be that person. So if you care about any of that stuff, then you'll make the changes even if they're hard, right? Right,
but what I'm saying even is like there are things that happen unexpectedly in life that kind of almost make you have to take the hard way.
Right. Well, that's what happens.
You can try and fight it. You can try, like your brain could definitely try and fight it by just disconnecting, dissociating, detaching, whatever, right? Yeah. Suppressing, so for example, like, if someone dies, right? Someone who you're close to, family member, someone like dies in your life. Now you would think that in that situation, you're in a situation where you're forced to have to like move on in some way, right? So now you got to go back to the house. They're not there anymore. Get rid of their stuff, blah, 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 the whole, and kind of live life without this person. So you're forced to kind of now have to do things in a way that you obviously didn't want to, and that's going to be harder for you. But where the brain comes in is that the brain can easily disconnect from that at the same time if it's too much, and separate itself from the reality. Therefore, your brain is not really allowing itself to sit in reality or sit in the uncomfortable. So it takes you somewhere else. Therefore, you're taking the easy way out, which is actually really the harder way out.
Right, because why? Because eventually it's going to surface. It's going to catch up.
It's going to catch up, and then shit's going to fucking crumble. Do you know what I'm saying? So
we just jumped into live right now.
So eventually that's that's going to happen, you know?
Yeah, and then those universal challenges that are kind of like forced into your life at whatever random moments or whatever that are forcing you to deal with the situation, even if you figure out a way to avoid it in that moment, the universe will bring another scenario and it will just keep loading. That's why people that like kind of go into like depression or like not so much depression, but people that are always like, I don't know, things are happening to them all the time, like bad things. And they will like, continuously happen until you figure it out and get past the obstacle.
Right, within yourself.
I
want to be clear. This is more, now we're going like a quantum physics route, right?
Yeah.
Because this is more quantum physics in terms of whatever you put out there, you get back, right?
Yeah, right?
So it's like when people come to me and they're like having relationship issues and they've literally been in maybe like, I don't know, 10 relationships, and I talk to them about it, and every single relationship has similar patterns that I hear and that I see from them. Now they don't hear and see it, right?
Yeah.
But
they
I'm
just
like,
see different people.
Right. But I'm like, oh, it's the same, right? So then once I help someone to kind of see that, then their question that they bring up is, well, why do all these things happen to me, right? Like, why is this happening to me? Why am I always in shitty relationships? Why am I always... And I'm like, so my answer to that is actually kind of a bit blunt, but I'll explain it. My answer is, well, the issue is you.
Right.
right. So meaning, if I'm finding that every relationship that I get into just so happens to be a emotionally detached, neglectful relationship with someone who's unhealthy, then what the fuck does that say about me? Because the only thing in common in that situation is me. Right? So now what does that say about me? So really I flip it and I'm like, okay, well then really the issue is you. So then let's look into what you're putting out there and what's going on internally with you that is, you know, the energy that continues to gravitate these other unhealthy people to you. This is why you're sitting here going, oh, why do I keep finding myself in the same situation, right? And that's that internal block. That's the challenge, you know?
Right. That the internal obstacle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you keep avoiding it, then it'll just keep coming back one way or another, one shape or form, somehow. And where were we going with all that, though? We were talking
about the easy way out of things.
Yeah. So, you know.
So basically the conclusion to that is that the easy way is always usually the hard way, right? So except for my school example, because I will say in that example, the easy way, actually, no. The easy way wasn't so easy for me.
You probably had to do more classes or something like that.
No, my student loan debt is way higher because I went to a private university. Versus going to a public fucking university where I would have to take that stupid GRE exam. But I wanted to bypass it, which I did. Graduated from Nova, which is a private university. Hello, I'm now a therapist, but...
Yep. Everybody,
Biden, come through with the student loan relief quickly.
Yo, we're getting to a place where it's just like the amount of debt is like insane. So like, I mean, China already switched over to digital currency. This is my crazy theory, and I'm going to put it out there now. Bitcoin becomes the new the U.S. government or the Federal Reserve declares Bitcoin as the new digital gold. So that way they can attach their new currency, which would still be the same, it would be the dollar, but they'll just do it just back in a different way. Attach it and they'll say, all right, we have this new digital United States currency and it's backed by the gold standard of digital currencies, the Bitcoin. And that way they can start the Ponzi scheme all over again. Right, so then that could maybe possibly wipe out. They could wipe out all the debts and stuff before they do something like that.
What's interesting is that in my search this morning, I was just looking, and there was like apparently some cyber attack that happened. So Biden's now like fucking trying to like some pipeline.
Like I'm like, all right, so you're pumping
because the gas prices went up.
Yeah,
it was due to the cyber attack.
You're pumping oil, and this is like a physical thing, moving thing, but I guess. It's so technologically like whatever intertwined
Yeah.
that a hacker can go in there and shut down a pipeline, I guess.
Can we go? I just want to quickly, like, really go into this whole hackers conversation. Okay. Out of all the people in this world, with the many skills that they have, okay, so let's say, skills of being a surgeon is insane to me, right? Like, you have to be so meticulous and so accurate and you can't fuck up and everything, right? Crazy. Skills of being a musician, artist, whatever. Tons of skills, UFC fighters, right? The type of people in this world that ever since I was younger, I used to watch movies about like the movie Hackers, which actually I love with Angelina Jolie, okay? I used to be so into that shit. They are truly the most interesting group of individuals to me that I know. I get so into this shit and I'm like, this shit is fucking serious. Like, how do people do this? How do they hack like this whole like system and da-da-da-da-da-da? That shit is so crazy to me. Like, it's wild.
I think it's just
wild.
It's people that really just want to like figure things out, like figure out a code or
the way
like
their
how to
brain
crack a code.
it's and let me be clear, it's their brains that interest me. Okay? It's their mind that interests me. Like, how the fuck are you looking at this formula and this and these letters and word, and how are you putting all this shit together to crack a code, to break into, I don't know, the UN. I don't know, like, it's just like, well, it's so also crazy.
Now it's gotten to the point too where they all can like open source their knowledge. And like one person,
they could,
like one, like in Africa, can figure out one part of this code, and the other person in America, and then they like combine it, and then.
Am I the only one that thinks that that's like fucking phenomenal?
It's the way. It's honestly the way.
Insane.
It's the way humans are actually meant to work, I think. So they're like working with each other. Like, we all should just like figure out what we're passionate about and what our role is as a human being on this earth, and just go down that path, whether it's fucking like something dumb like, I don't know, jump rope champion. I always use that one. Jump rope champion, or like the best hacker in the world. Like, that's your thing. And all of us collectively doing our own passion. These hackers are passionate about doing these things, so they focus on one part of it, and another guy's focused on another part of it that he likes, and then they just combine their efforts, and then they can do things like this, right?
I want to speak to, I really would love to speak to like a real hardcore hacker, just to get into their mind for a second of like, what are you thinking? I don't know. I just think it's so. Now, needless to say, I get very annoyed if I go to the gas station, use my card, and now I have to shut down my card or some stupid shit like that because someone hacked into my system or whatever. That annoys me. But I still gotta say, it's still like, man, you did that. You got my information. Yeah. What the fuck did you do that?
I mean, would you really, like, you'd probably shut your brain off after, like, literally 30 seconds of
Not if I was in a session. This has to be in a professional setting, obviously.
Like, I personally, I feel like I have that mindset. Like, if I...
Yeah, you do.
Dedicated myself to, like, figuring out codes and stuff like that, that's what I'd, like, stay up all fucking night trying to figure shit out, right?
Yeah.
So you live with somebody and you don't ever fucking ask me.
But my thing is this, though.
You don't really care.
No, because my thing is not about the whole... I don't care about the codes, meaning so they can talk about the codes all day long. My thing is, as they're speaking, I'm looking farther than the codes. I'm looking beyond it, and I'm getting now into how their brain actually really works. And so that, to me, is fascinating.
So how does my brain work? You should know this by now.
Gosh.
So you don't really care.
I do. You're my husband. I don't do that with you. I want to talk to somebody else.
Okay.
A different person.
All the answers are right here in your own house. And you're like, well, I'll just wait for that hacker to walk in my office so I can talk to them.
You're not a hacker.
I know I'm not a hacker, but like you just said, you don't care about the hacking part, which I'm not caring about either.
But the hacking part's pretty cool, though, I will say.
It's the mentality.
I don't care about the hacking piece, but it's still pretty interesting.
So there's like some sort of storyline to keep you
engaged,
right,
where I'm
right.
like, oh shit, that is fucking wild.
Well, we can switch gears a little bit though. Last night you fell asleep watching this, but I had to like sit there and listen to it while you were sleeping.
What were we watching?
But it was a little interesting. It was the life after death.
Oh, I was watching the documentary, right?
For like 2 minutes, and then you fell asleep, and then I listened to the next hour of it.
Oh,
but I was really like kind of relating to it because
I figured you would though.
Yeah, because of this one shroom trip that I had, and I like died, but it wasn't scary at all. Like I was ready for it. It was all good. But yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I mean, you only watched like 2 minutes of it.
I can't talk much about it, but I will say the little bits that I did watch, it was rather interesting. I thought it was going to give me some anxiety because I don't know, but it didn't, and it was really fascinating. It really was to hear these individuals' encounters with death and what they experienced, and like, I mean, the first story I heard was like wild. Did you catch the kayaker, the lady who was kayaking?
No.
Or canoeing or whatever? That story was like, she described what she saw in such detail. Like it was like, I mean, detail, like of this amazing thing that she described. And she said actually that when she saw what she saw and she was walking there and she saw this thing, she was like, I didn't feel scared. I felt like I was coming home.
Yeah.
That's how she said it. And when she said that, that really stood out in my head. I was like, damn, that's actually really fucking deep.
But different people have different experiences with it.
Right. That was
Some
hers,
people are like, they were like, oh my God, it was the most scariest thing that ever happened. And I saw this light and I had this, I didn't want to go towards it or whatever. Like, I think, this is what I think. This is going to get a little deep, but what we deal with in our lives, talking about these obstacles and challenges that come into our lives, they're there for a purpose. You're supposed to figure that out and get past it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you choose to delay these things, delay them, and never actually get through them, then the point where you actually are going to die, you are like scared, literally scared to death, right? Because you're thinking of all these things. You haven't figured these things out yet, and now your time is gone on Earth. So then you're moving on to this other scary place that you know nothing about because you've had no time to like actually contemplate any of this stuff. So that's that person. Now, another person sounds more like the kayaker, maybe is more aware of themselves, maybe has confronted some of these challenges in life. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? And that's the stuff I'd like to talk to those people about, because I can almost guarantee there is a pattern there. If you're more calm with yourself and your life and aware that one day you will die, and how are you going to feel about that? Like thinking about all these things, you know, I think if you were able, long story short, I think if you're able to overcome these challenges that the universe brings to you in this life here, then when you go to die, you're extremely happy and comfortable with moving on to the next story of your life or whatever it is.
See, it's interesting because for me, it's like, I mean, like when I talk about life's challenges, I mean, God, I've had
Hi, David.
For me, I feel like I've had many, and I've been able to overcome them and work through them and grow from them. But for me, it's not even that. For me, it's like, I don't want to leave the people who I love so much, you know? So it's like, like my daughter, you know, like, my gosh, like I want to be with her all the time, you know, like, and she's only like 18 months. So I would feel like I haven't had enough, you know, time with her.
At this point,
right. You know, like I would feel like like you even, like we just got married, you know, we just been like I wouldn't want to leave that, you know, like I feel like my life is just really like getting started on a whole other level, that death is scary to me right now because I wouldn't want to lose this.
Right.
Does that make sense? So when you see it from that angle, do you understand? Does it become a little scarier?
I guess if I saw it from that angle, yes. But there's, once again, that's a different perspective, right? So, Yes, you're
But
right.
but if I was like old, let's say, or not even old, if I just like really like feel like I was at a point in my life where I had nothing to really like continue on, meaning I was good with everything. So like, let's say I was single, or let's say I was just not even with you. Yeah, let's say I wasn't with you. I didn't have soul. I was single, and I just had like people in my life who I love, and I, was there with my family. I had mended the relationship with my mom, right?
Mhm.
And everything on that level was all, if I passed away, I can see at that point, yeah, like, okay, like I'm really, but my life just literally started on a whole other level. So now it's like, why would no, I don't want that to go away.
Right. Yeah, I guess there's like this like balance of, being aware of the future and having goals and stuff like that, and then also living in the moment, right? So like, Euro, our dog, wouldn't think about if he died today, like he'd probably be happy and be fine moving on to with his next life, right?
No, he wouldn't.
Okay, maybe Euro's a bad example, but like this is why I try to treat everybody as if they're going to die every day, which seems like horrible or whatever. What's the word? It's like
It doesn't seem horrible. It's just
like a
sad.
negative way to think.
It's not negative. It's just like sad at the same time. Like I
But
get it.
that's reality.
There's something
though, right?
very like powerful to it, and something very like like.
But if you're able to treat everybody as if like they're going to die tomorrow, like how would you treat somebody if you knew for a fact that they were going to die tomorrow?
It'd be like this.
Right. We should do this every day, all the time.
Do a moment.
Right. So that's how everybody should be every day, all the time.
Right.
And what's the harm in that? Nothing. There's no harm in that. Just people forget about it. They don't think because they get caught up in
life and the world, and this is happening, and no.
And just listen. I get caught up too, but like I try to constantly bring myself back to like everybody could die tomorrow. Am I content? Have I talked to Aaliyah enough? Do I understand her enough that I would be like, of course I would be sad.
Okay.
But like,
I could die tomorrow. So are you content and completely feeling like we have really, had a good run and everything's great at this point, meaning no looking back on anything that you could have done more of or anything of that sort?
No,
maybe planning a great picnic for Mother's Day with that cool picnic thing
oh my God.
Or maybe.
So we had a great picnic and we had all this stuff. It just wasn't like, like golden fucking forks and shit. And by the way, we do that shit all the time. So it's like, for me, it's like I have to do the golden fork thing for it to even seem like it's a significant thing. So this
Joe
is what
made
I'm talking
breakfast,
about.
right? Joe made breakfast yesterday for Mother's Day. And it was like the same breakfast.
I'm like, I make breakfast every day. So
I was like, thanks.
I guess on like special occasions. All right, so that's something I guess I can work on. Like special occasions, I got to go like
you got to up
way
it up
above and beyond.
because you already do these great things. So it's like,
right. So think about why I do these great things on a daily basis. Because if you died on Saturday,
I'm not complaining because obviously I have a maid, so I'm not, and I don't take you for granted. But I'm saying.
Like if you died on Saturday, I could have easily said, well, we had a great breakfast on Friday, we had a great conversation. It was like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, things can always be like whatever, a step above or whatever, but I mean, I think if you try your best, then you won't have as many regrets. Listen, if you died tomorrow, I'd be sad, and it would definitely take me some time, and I'd be like, we were supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and that would have been great, and now we can't, and blah, 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 and she's not going to see Soul grow up, and like these are sad things that I will think about, but I will always bounce back to what has transpired over the past 3 years that we've been together, what we accomplished, and taking what's there and guiding that to the next level.
This conversation's hurting my chest.
Like, because you're sad? Or?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. This is the perspective change that you have to understand. There's a fine line. You can either go down that sad path or you could say, wow, this is very inspiring. And
I don't think I'd be so sad if I didn't have a kid, but like the kid thing really just changes.
In my mind, I'm just like, all this energy, we're just energy right now. Like this is how I think. I mean, not everybody thinks like this, but this is why I'm able to kind of get through these things. Like we're just energy. There's energy flying out of my mouth right now, right? We're vibrating. Mm-hmm. We're connecting right now. So that continues on forever. So if I died right now, that doesn't mean that we don't still have this connection. This is why people go to psychics and like go to connect with their like husband or wife or whatever that died.
No, I know we're always going to have that
because
connection. I understand
it's
that.
Real. Like,
but now we got to always have that connection and you're gone. So now I'm like, great, we have this. Now no one that comes in my life is going to be like.
But if you think about like this physical life, us being on Instagram Live and doing this podcast, where this is literally a drop in the bucket of like continuous energy.
But I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
You won't. And here's the other thing. See, now we're getting like crazy deep into like spiritual whatever, but like we've always been connected. Even way before I even met you. Like past life shit. Like energy. Like we are like you know how DNA is like connected in certain ways and different people's have different DNA. Like there's a bind somehow, some way, and I can't explain it. That is between me and you, that was and will always be.
Wow, that is serious.
Mm-hmm. And you have that with your daughter. That's guaranteed. That's locked in. And I have that with my mom, and you have that with your mom and parent. And we all have all this stuff. So it's all there. We just have to tap into it. And that can be tapped into whether we're dead or alive or...
For me, I just see it as... I see, going back to the quantum physics piece that we were talking about, like us meeting each other was just that. Meaning, I met you at a point in my life where internally I was ready to accept good. I was ready to accept things that I deserve and that I know that I deserve to be treated well.
And that's going back to what you were talking about, the therapy with the girl that she brings in. Yeah. And, so you changed your perspective on...
Well, I believe that what happened was my perspective changed. I also believe that my self-worth increased, right? Because having that, I was in a very abusive relationship when I was like 20, 21, 22, right? So that really kind of fucked with my self-worth a bit, So I didn't think I deserved at that time anything really, really great. I knew logically I did, but emotionally I didn't because of the abuse piece, right? So I had to really work through that to get to a piece where I was like, no, fuck that, right? So it was at that point then that was the energy that I was really putting out.
Right.
And then the universe was like, oh, we got this guy over here that actually is ready for a relationship. He had many women in his life that just, he was always the caretaker and the one that took care of everything. And he's ready for an independent woman who's this, who's that, blah, 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 blah. Bam. Quantum physics.
So why is it so hard for people to believe that type of stuff, which is, you literally get paid to teach people these ways of seeing things, right? But it's so hard for people to believe that like that energy connects us in other ways via like different lives and like after we die and the energy just keeps going. Like, why is that so hard to believe?
Because I think it takes the brain, I think it's easier for people to kind of see that coming from the angle of like focusing on relationships.
Right. That's
versus
simple.
Focusing on what you were. That's like a bigger scale and it's a deeper scale. So now it's like people really got to go to another level.
But in reality, it's the exact same thing. I know that, right?
But it's just what you're talking about is just, it's not tangible. Like relationships can see it. They can see, right? So I can connect energy to a relationship, blah, 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 because it's there, right? But what you're talking about, and none of it's
Right. And I think you got to go on the death shroom trip to realize that it's still connected,
possibly.
right? And that's probably what a lot of those people that have had near-death experiences can connect on. They're like, well, yeah, it still exists. It's that same thing. And a lot of people can't explain it, but that's what they all connect on.
Right.
So if you see a relationship in an energy way and just like, and treat it like everybody could die at any moment, then you'll have a great relationship, I think.
I do want to stress more of that too, though, because I can't tell you how many people I come across, even just in my personal life, who, let's say, like, may still be single or whatever, or they want to be in a relationship, and it's like, and maybe are frustrated because it's not happening for them, and the only thing I can say to those people, whoever they are, is that, because all I have is really my experience, to really kind of go off of, right? On top of obviously what I know from just like book stuff, and going to school and stuff like that. But like when I combine those two things, I will say I feel like what really worked for me and how I see it playing out was really more of just like the taking a step back. And I'm going to explain this. Not that I didn't care about other things, but I just didn't care about them on the level that, let's say, I once did. Meaning, before I met you, I was in a phase of my life where I stopped even caring about really being in a relationship with someone. Like it wasn't a necessity anymore. I was just like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy each moment and every experience.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm going to have a great time. And I noticed that when I surrendered to the whole experience and just allowed myself to kind of be in the moment,
open to...
that's when I met you.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? But when I was in my head about it, and I was like, oh man, I'm just like, God, I would love to be in a relationship. And like, oh, why can't I meet someone who's like, blah, 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 right? When I was thinking about it, I would always meet people, but they like weren't my people, like they just weren't, So I think it was that mixed with my internal work that eventually kind of, led to the energy being put out there. And then I got you.
Right.
If that makes sense, right? So
David was mentioning on here on the Instagram Live, he was saying this, what we're talking about is like fourth and fifth dimensional conversations, right?
Fourth and fifth dimensional conversations.
And that brings up a good point, because I'm always like, I believe perspective and dimensions are one and the same. Like, because think about it. One person can have, because I believe that there's an infinite amount of dimensions or perspectives.
Okay.
See how you can like kind of intertwine these things?
Those two, yeah.
So like I can have this one perspective on how I see, I don't know. Like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
Whatever.
That makes
and
sense,
I could explain it to you and you'd be like, what? I've never even thought about that. I see it like this. Well, that's because you are in a different dimension when it comes to that particular topic than I am. I call it just perspectives, different perspectives. Now, once you change your perspective, you can change a lot of things.
No,
like
once
everything
you change
around
the
that
perspective, the dimension changes.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, because I see a dimension. When I hear the word dimension, I think of like going into, it's like a whole new world, right? It's like a whole new place, a whole new area. Perspective to me is more thought. So once I change my perspective, I can change my dimension.
Right. You change the focus of your perspective. So you just go from, all right, this is all I always knew. And then you go, boom, you just shift it a little bit. And then everything
around you can change. Right.
Everything around that particular topic or thing that you change your perspective on changes.
Right.
There's it opens up this whole new field of like opportunity or change.
Right. Dimension is the actual like thing that like you can see and, like visual, like an actual thing. And then the perspective is just the thought, So the thought comes first. Once that changes, the dimension changes,
Yeah. David, you want to get in on this, this conversation here? I could tap you in here. Let's see if he'll. I'll send him a request. Maybe he'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, see, this is the shit I love. Well, there he is.
I'm not scared.
What's up?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
just
What's up?
What's up?
so this is David Lawrence. He's on with us. He is the owner of Mad Love Design.
Mad Love by Design.
By Design, yes.
Yeah.
You could check him out on Instagram. We are going to put a little tag on there. But so, what are your thoughts about everything we're saying? Do you agree with what we're talking about, with the different dimensions and stuff?
Yeah. So I was saying, like, so you were talking about perspective and dimension. I think that's totally accurate. It's a different tangent that I was thinking about, but it's like everybody thinks of perception or reality in terms of their senses, right? Like what they see, what they hear, what they smell, and that's how we describe what we're living in. That's the dimension that we live in, the third dimension. It's based off of our senses. It doesn't really take into account like sixth senses, psychic senses, or just even basically everyone on the level can feel that sense that when someone walks in the door, we can all feel someone's energy.
Right.
So to me, that's a whole layer, a whole nother concept to add on to the third dimension, making it fourth dimensional thinking, which, like you were saying, is you change your perspective on things, which then brings you into a new and that's fire. That's what I'm all about.
But it's like something that not a lot of people like really talk about, but everybody deals with it every single day on all levels at all times. Mm-hmm. Like just the way that they think about how their day is going, or like, you know, who they're hanging out with or whatever. If they just shifted it just a little bit, they can see a whole new perspective on the thing that they supposedly thought that they hated or you know, or was a pain in the ass to do or whatever. If you just shift it a little bit, the whole world changes.
See, but these are also things that you think are fairly easy.
Simple, right? Yeah. Right. Then
he talks about this though, like these things are really easy, and then he gets frustrated because he's like, well, why can't this person just see this? And I'm like, well, because first of all, if it was that easy, I wouldn't have a career. Let's be right. Like I wouldn't be getting paid for what I do for a living. Let's just be honest, you know? So it's not that easy. There are many, many, many things, blocks, right, that don't allow someone to just see a perspective or see something in a different light. Right? Whether it be just obviously their own internal stuff, how they were raised, what's been their belief systems, messages that were sent to them throughout their lives.
And that's what a lot of people just have layers. It's like holding a bunch of like bricks, and like some people only have like one brick to hold or no bricks, but some people got a bunch of bricks that were put on them by like what we were talking in the last podcast,
everyone
by like since they were little babies, and just the way that their parents talk to them or whatever, and it's just one brick at a time. And then it's like, how do you see anything when you're so focused on like carrying all these fucking bricks? You got to take the bricks down, and that's what your job is.
Right.
And there's so much cultural baggage that everybody has, and we have to learn how to unlearn all of that stuff, right? Well, in order to see something from a different perspective, then we have to see it from a different perspective. And that means it takes work, you know?
Right. Yeah, you got to get rid of all the other layers.
Our perspective is an accumulation of our entire life experience, and that includes, you know, race. That includes your nation, your country. If you've traveled, if you've lived in another country, if you haven't, if you stayed at your hometown, you know, like. Everybody has a different perspective, in their life's experience gives them that.
Like really, what we're talking about is the solution to, for example, racism, right? If you are very concerned that the whole world is racist and whatever, well then let's start from the beginning. Then maybe have a child, and then change your perspective on how you think about racism and teach that to your child. And then we raise one person on earth that is not racist, right? Because we've changed our perspective. We think that this is not a good way to live. And then that's all you have to focus on. That's it. Forget about the guy next door. Forget about the White House or whatever. Like, you've done your part. Now, if 7 billion people did that exact same thing within one cycle of a generation, No more racism.
Awesome. Conversation over.
Done. We just solved the problem.
Yeah.
Right? But
Finished.
but what I get it. It's not as
But there are many people,
easy
though,
as that,
in the
but-
world who are content, and I use that word very loosely, who are content or fine. Remember that word? Fine with
Fine.
fucked up, insecure, neurotic, emotional. Fine with the perspective that they're in.
Yeah, you're right.
Again,
But then then that person
like live in that little comfy comfort zone.
Yeah, so for
Things
them,
that
it's
they
like-
know, you know?
For them, it's like, why do I need to change my perspective? My perspective is totally fine. Black people shouldn't be doing this. Whatever, like.
because trend seems to really be like moving society, like culture is all based on like trends and stuff like that now. So like I wish there was like a new trend that just like everybody like forced everybody to like stop complaining. If you're gonna complain about something, then figure it the
so
fuck
cool
out.
to just love everybody and get along. Like that was the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if like somebody came in and was like bitching about their day or whatever, they'd just oust him and be like, "We can't hang out with you today." Like it
Your
just
energy's off, man.
yeah. That would change a lot of things, right? Because that would force that person to figure their thing out, or at least pretend to not complain about that
Right.
shit.
I mean, it's true, right? Like this whole cancel culture thing. Like, when the fuck did this like?
Yeah, let's
how did
cancel
this,
complaining.
Like, start like it's like everyone started talking about it and focusing on it. The news, blah blah blah. People, and now it's like a thing that like everyone's like into it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing on TV,
It's
right?
being manipulated, is what it is. Yeah, it's a thing on
Right.
TV, right? Yeah. So.
As he sips his mud water.
Although I don't know, I don't really watch that much TV these days.
So yeah, we just kind of like got right into it, but like, how you doing, man? How's the business going?
Good, man. We're busy, and that's really good. We're in a situation where we're kind of redefining things, which is good. Like we started just doing online sales of t-shirts with positive phrases, and then that moved into creating like a little retail space at East End Market, and then now we're moving into like crystals and other kind of like high vibe things. We're just trying to like spread positivity. That's really it. Just super basic. I feel like that's what the world needs right now. Just the basic, happy little phrases, pop things, smiles, laughter. Back to the basics.
Yeah. And they do have to, I mean, because I know that for you guys too, they're not just positive phrases. They are positive phrases that only have 3 words. And that makes sense to me because when I, let's say, work with someone on self-esteem, and one of the things we do are a lot of affirmations, right? And I always tell them, do not make it long. It has to be short, to the point, bam. I am successful. I can be that, right? And that's because once it's too long, your brain loses, it just completely starts to fade away from whatever the fuck it is that we were talking about to begin with, right? So if it's like, I can be successful as long as I work hard, gone. Now I'm gone.
Yeah.
Right? But if I'm like, I can be, right.
Something that you can say over and over again, just while you're driving, while you're stuck in traffic, while you're at the grocery store in line, like something to think about, something to contemplate that brings you into, a new perspective.
Right.
New perspective.
Right.
I have a shirt.
Then
with
a
perspective
dimension.
on it. Yeah. What else?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just going to talk about my old T-shirt company that I don't have. It was never a T-shirt company.
Never a T-shirt company.
But I still wear those shirts, and the perspective one, and then life will humble you. Always gets like compliments.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I love that one.
Because words have power.
Right.
Words have so much power. And I feel like we really underestimate the power of words.
Mm-hmm.
Language is powerful. And like you were saying, with just 3 basic words, like we feel like if someone just sees that on the street, that it's at least it's just in your subconscious, like be the change, know your worth, free to be, like just whatever phrases that we feel like are resonating with us at the moment, we slap them on some t-shirts and try and spread it around, because I just feel like, words are powerful. They
Yeah.
are. And then they become thoughts, and then thoughts can become things.
Mm-hmm.
And the tangible part about this, like, remember you were talking about, like, you know, you start thinking about like energy and stuff, and it's hard for people to see that it's like tangible. Now they've actually created a tangible part to this where, and this is what cane water was based on, infused with love, right? Where they have these plates with sand on it. People have probably seen this before, and they'll say a word like love, and it'll create this perfect shape, right? But if you say like hate, it's like this weird deformed shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. If your body is vibrating with frequencies, and your body is made up of 60-70% of water, when somebody like physically says or verbally says words to you, it's actually causing a physical response within your body,
Right.
which is crazy. And like to people that have never like researched this or whatever, they'd be like, that is nuts. But it's an actual scientist, it's a fact.
Right.
So that's the tangible connection, I think, for people to move on to that next level of understanding everything that we're talking about with this perspective and dimensions and the words and the frequencies and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Emoto,
Yep.
like those things up. The rice experiment is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of people that are doing the rice experiment at home. It's so basic. It's
What's the rice
literally
experiment?
taking some rice and fermenting it, but putting like hate on one and love on the other, sticking it in the closet, letting it ferment, and then pulling it out 3 weeks later. And the love one is always a perfect, beautiful, fermented concoction, and the hate one is like black and rotted.
Like,
Really?
Like ferment, you mean just like put the rice in water or something? Or-
Well, I think it's more than that. I don't want to pretend to know how to ferment rice, but there's tons of YouTube videos online.
Right.
Right.
Another kind of experiment like the water, the same thing. But they all, if you go back to Om, like Om was a sound, it was a vibration, and that was language before we got so literal in this day and age. Language becomes so literal and has so much lack of emotion in it. It's just, I'm telling you what I'm telling you, and there's really not much emotion unless I put inflection in my voice, and then you can feel that there's some kind of a person behind it, but we don't have to do that.
Right.
Right.
Talking
to humans. That's what I call it.
Or are we robots? I'm commandeering your conversation, and I should probably get back to selling.
No worries. All right, cool, man. I'm glad to have you on here, and
I love you guys.
Love you.
We do got to catch up some more, though.
Yeah, I got a lot to talk to you about.
Yeah, and we want to get you on here, like as like the podcast. We can just have a whole conversation about whatever you want to talk about.
I love this.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Cool.
It is.
All right, love you, brother.
Bye.
How to hang up?
I don't know. Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. How do you hang up?
How
do hang up?
I think I just turned the video off.
That was racist, Joe.
This is so funny. This is how 40-year-olds use Instagram.
This thing? Invite?
Cancel?
No, that didn't do anything.
This is how 40-year-olds use
You
Instagram.
have to hang up.
How do we hang up, guys?
You got to hang up.
Yeah, you hang up.
Oh,
I think he did.
He's gone now. It's circling, so it's thinking.
Right.
No, I don't know.
So I think we're still here.
We're still here.
Yeah.
But
wow, man, that Instagram live stuff is difficult if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I like this though because, this is why I wanted to start doing the lives, is because I wanted people to be able to kind of tap in, and then we could have people, because we're recording the podcast at the same time.
Right.
Right. So we can just have random guests like that. That's kind of cool.
I do like that. That is cool.
Yeah. And for anybody that's like, when you're watching us and you want to like jump in or
if you want to jump in the conversation or you have a comment, let us know.
Just request or whatever, and
then we can like bring you in.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
All
right. Let's wrap up.
Yeah, that's been a good deep one. It started off a little crazy, but
it started off with talking about dogs who are grumpy versus dogs who are smart.
Which is the same thing, though, probably. Energy, right?
Energy. Dogs feel lots of energy, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, guys. It was great having you here again and listening to us talk about stuff.
So we just... we recorded a podcast this weekend. That's episode 13. That actually just came out about an hour ago.
Yeah.
So you can catch that on our check in on our bio. The link is in the bio. Mm-hmm. And then this one, which there was more before I started this live, can be seen probably by like Wednesday. We'll release that one.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thanks for listening. And
thanks for listening.
Hope you enjoy.
Guys, also check us out on Apple Podcasts, please.
Yeah,
right?
And Spotify.
Rate and review us. Rate and review us. If you have any comments, leave those. If you have any topics or things that you want to just like discuss and kind of jump in on, let us know too. Because every day this is like, well, what are we going to talk about? And
Literally.
we just
go off the top of it.
seconds before this podcast, and then it just goes, you know?
Zero
prep.
It's just like, here we go.
Zero prep. All right. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.